Hey guys, so just going to do a quick video on the different family of vehicles for the Jackal series. So in the first picture here, what we've got here is what was called Menacity, and Menacity was basically the very first iteration of the Jackal family. This was when it went off into Special Forces, and it was basically a cut down version of a Jackal. It didn't have any of the armor plates on. It did look slightly different to what this is, ever so slightly, but in essence this is what a Menacity looked like while it was being trialled. As you can see in the back, it was totally stripped down. There was no ballistic doors or panelling. There was extra seats that was put in the back, where the ECM boxes at the bottom in the load bed was actually two rearward facing seats and a bit of a load bed. So this was the first iteration that went on trial, and then once it become Jackal, after it passed its trials, we went on to what we know as a Jackal One. So looking at this picture then, this is in essence what a Jackal One was. As you can see, it's got the lowered Wimmick mount where the guy is at the back with a 50 cal. That's lowered, which is below most of the ROPs. And that was, like I said previously, that was changed because the 50 cal managed to shoot around through the cab. As you can see on the back, it's got the plate for the jerry cans instead of the brackets that fold down. The wheels on the outside of the door. There's no marker lights on the side, and there's no steps at the front. The ECM plane at the back is also on sort of like round discs and a bracket that bolts to the side of the ECM boxes, and the rest of the differences were internal, like engine and all that sort of stuff from Jackal 1 to 2. So moving on, the next picture then is we've got the Jackal One Alpha. So this had a few optional upgrades that the one didn't have. So we've now got the side lights next to the radiator box, which is that louvered vent just to the right of that side light. Some of them had steps fitted, some of them didn't, but we've now got the rolled ROPS bar. What that was for was to give you a little bit of extra headroom if the vehicle was to roll over. You had that little bit of extra room to manoeuvre and to hold the vehicle up. This vehicle's 7.5 ton. Around that sort of bracket, empty, with nothing in it. Obviously with no roof, that could give you a bit of a headache. So also on this side, we've got the other bracket near the rear smoke discharges, which is for the fuel jerry cans. And again, there was a few minor changes on the inside. So going from Jackal 1, we go to Jackal 2. This is an early one. You can see the original bar is back to the flat shape. We've got the raised Wimmick platform at the back. We've got the wheels and storage bins on the inside of the door. We've got the brackets that fold down with the jerry cans on, and now we've got the side light underneath the door. So this is an original Jackal 2. This is how we received them, and that's basically the Jackal 2. Again, there were something like 140 differences from the Jackal 1 to the 2. A lot of them were internal to systems and components and running gear and all that sort of stuff, which was upgraded from the 1. So moving on then, we've now got what is the Jackal 2 or Jackal 2 Late, Jackal 2 Alpha, whatever you want to call it. This was again changed according to upgrades from theatre. So we've now got the rolled ROPS bar again, the curvy ROPS bar at the front, and there's various changes near the back end with the ECM plane, and again there was a few changes on the inside. But as you can see, we've still got the side light, which is now moved to the left hand side of the vent. So as you can see, this is the later one, so the grille has now become open to allow better airflow, because in there is the radiator and the fans. So that was another upgrade. The rear bracket, the door just above that, where you've got that sort of like roundy vent, that was also changed. That's a one-piece thing now instead of the little one that was on the Jackal 2. Some of the other vehicles that fell into this bracket that didn't quite make it, we moved on to the cabbed Jackal variant. So this is basically exactly the same vehicle with a load bed on the back instead of the Wimmet kit, and as you can see, it's got a cab. I've never seen one of these in the flesh, but it's there. We then go on to sort of like the Coyote sort of like family, and this is a cabbed Coyote, and then it's got like containers that it can go on the back and specialist equipment that can go on the back. But in essence, this is the Coyote with a cab. I can't really tell you much about this because I haven't really. I've seen one in the flesh once, but I've never been in it. I've never looked at it. I've never used it. Know very little about it. But this was actually and is still in service. Moving on from that, we come into the the Coyote load carrying platform. So as you can see, it is basically a Jackal 2 up to the middle wheels. It's identical in every way to the Jackal 2, and the rear bit of the back is called an extender. So what basically happens is on the Jackal family, if you've got the 4-wheel drive variant, if you strip the back end out, you can literally just bolt the extra axle onto the back. Apparently it takes about 2 hours to do, to put the extender bit on the back, which increases it to the 6-wheel drive. What this was actually designed for was to follow the Jackals and resupply them, hence the extra jerry cans. It also had a bigger load bed so it can carry ammunition and stores and kit and equipment that you couldn't fit in the Jackals, but this was designed to follow them, which is why it looks exactly the same. Moving on, we've gone to the later Jackal 2s, Coyote 2s or Coyote Lates or whatever you want to call them. And again, we've now gone into the rolled ROPS bar. There was a few changes. You can see it's got the newer light next to the grills, and the same changes that happened to the later Jackal 2s happened to the later Coyotes, but there was no substantial change from the rear, from the back wheels backwards, the extender part. There was no real changes to that, but it had the same modifications internally and componently within that Jackal 2 platform. There's also one other variant of the Coyote, which is the recovery truck, which is this variant. This has only just been made and it's only just about to be released and come out for sale. But this is the recovery version of it. Basically, in the back end of this is the recovery jib and the crane. It's also got the plate, the feet that come down, and it's got all the recovery equipment left and right. But this is actually the Coyote with a cab again. There is a newer variant out of this, which is the export version. If you go onto Supacats website and actually have a look at that platform, you'll see it's got a different interior, it's got different wheels, it's got a central tire inflation system on it, different bumpers, different lights, different driver's console. It's got a lot more kit on it than what the British one's got. It's basically got all the toys on it that you can have as optional extras, but it's worth having a look on the Supercats YouTube channel and go and have a look at that to see the different vehicles. So that's basically the entire fleet of the Jackals that I know of. A couple of them I have never dealt with, like the cabbed variants of all these vehicles. So yeah, I thought I'd just do this quick video on the Jackal family just to clear some of this stuff up as to what the variants are with the Jackal that I'm building at the minute from Hobby Boss. So I hope that was helpful, and hope you can use the pictures as a reference or whatever. And that's pretty much where we're at. So thanks for your time, guys, and I'll speak to you soon.